All right, everyone. Welcome to this new moon Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for October 19th, Thursday of 2017. And the new moon's in Virgo. If you were expecting me to say Libra, definitely check out the link down below. We're using the actual size of the constellations called Sidereal Astrology. All right, so another new moon in Virgo. The last one last month was here as well. Nothing out of the ordinary because it is a very large constellation. But yeah, more integration with the Virgo qualities. So the maiden, Virgo, is essentially about integrating the qualities of self-refinement, right? How can we improve ourselves? How can we improve our environment, basically, so that we can live a healthy and balanced lifestyle? That's really what it's all about, and really take care of our physical needs, right? Our personal needs, our physical needs, things like this. Now, it's also about service too, right? So it's about us and then also contributing to something larger than ourselves, which is the Pisces influence, which we'll talk about because this new moon is opposite up to Uranus, who is in Pisces. But nonetheless, yes, contributing to something larger than ourselves through our work, through our service is also the theme with this as well. So this new moon is actually on the easier side. It is conjoining up to Jupiter and Mercury, who are very close to each other, and will conjoin the day before the new moon. It is opposite Uranus, so there could be some erratic energy, which we'll talk about healthy ways of balancing that. But all in all, it is forming a kite, which is generally a very positive formation, which means it's also going to be sextiling Saturn and the North Node, which are supportive aspects. All right, so let's go and break all of this down here in more detail. All right, so here is the chart for the new moon. You can see it here in the constellation Virgo. The exact time of the new moon will be 15:38 Eastern time. And so, midday essentially. So let's talk a little bit more about the maiden here. So yeah, doing the work is what Virgo is all about. Again, doing the work to live a healthy and grounded lifestyle, right? So it does make it an excellent time collectively for things like diet, things like routine, and just again, anything that we feel like is going to improve our life in some way. But to do that, we have to improve ourselves, right? So that's why it makes it such a good time for things like that self-improvement. Now, self-discipline is a big quality, right? In order to do these things, we do have to limit our long-term, think a little bit more in terms of a long-term benefit versus short-term benefit, right? That again is very much about the earth signs, right? That grounded quality. Also developing skills, like I was saying, Virgo is often associated with our work. And if you do look at the constellation, the maiden is holding wheat, cultivated wheat in her hand. So this is symbolic for, doing the work and, producing the harvest. So it's obviously for ourselves, but it's not just concentrated for us. As human beings, we are social and collective beings, which is the Pisces balance, right? How can we give and contribute? How can we be of service to or to the world, mankind, and even develop ourselves spiritually? So that's a big part of it. And yeah, I think just all in all, focusing on how we can develop, whether it's ourself, our work, our environment, is just such an excellent time for integrating all of this. So let's talk about some of this opposition up to Uranus energy. It just so happens that almost at the exact time of the new moon, we do have the sun going exact opposite Uranus. So it's a very close opposition with this new moon. And so with this, I think it's a big emphasis on how Pisces balances Virgo, right? Virgo is everything that we do have control over. And it is about controlling, right? But controlling ourselves, right? And our work and everything that is within our sphere of influence. Pisces is everything that is not in our sphere of influence, right? So with this new moon, I think it's very important to remember or cultivate these qualities of faith, these qualities of trust when it comes to everything that is outside of our control. So this can be erratic though. With the sun opposite Uranus, there can be a bit of this wanting to break free individually, you know, in this collective type of energy. So if you are feeling that, I think again it's important to maintain this this balance, because any opposition up to Uranus, it's important that we're not flying off the handlebars, making any sudden decisions only based on that impulse. Now it's important to listen to the impulse, right? There's something here collectively for each of us that's saying we need some freedom in our life. We need some change and we're wanting this, right? And so that's what could be causing this sort of feeling of wanting to break free. So listen to that freedom. And the key, I think, is the fact that it's in Pisces, which means that the freedom is about letting go, right? Because when we do, in fact, let go of what's outside of our control, when we are present, when we are accepting of where we are without any mental projections, right, about the future or whatever, even the world at large with Uranus, there's a tremendous peace that arises. And that peace is very freeing. And that's something that Uranus has been showing us for the past 8 or so years with his transit of Pisces here. All right, so again, incorporating some of this Pisces in the day-to-day, it is definitely emphasizing this improvement, day-to-day, practical, pragmatic, striving towards perfection energy right now, and improvement. But again, I think remembering the surrender, remembering letting go, and that can help balance out a lot of this energy. All right, so, and of course, this new moon is going to be conjoining up to Mercury and Jupiter. So in a larger context, right, this is definitely on the easier side of things. But on a larger context, you know, the past year, we've had Jupiter already transiting Virgo. So I do recommend watching your weekly forecast if you haven't yet seen it to see which house this is taking place for you. But generally, this past year, it already has been expanding this opportunity to refine. And so these opportunities, though, wherever you felt inspired the past year, and again, your house placement will show more specifically what this is, but wherever you felt inspired the past year, there now is this new cycle, this new lunar cycle that's starting from this. So this new moon can definitely help us see opportunities that we maybe hoped to see or wanted to see now becoming a bit more in fruition, right? And so with Mercury involved with all this, we're seeing the big picture, right? Mercury, our practical mind, Jupiter, the big picture, right? We're seeing this. And so because we're seeing the big picture, we can see opportunities maybe we didn't otherwise see, or maybe our environment is creating them. We can have a bit of luck actually with new moons or with any Jupiter energy, but in this case, some luck with this cycle, which is good, supportive. And there can even be some ideas, right? Jupiter and Mercury getting together, both about ideas, both about wisdom and insight, can create that. All right. So that conjunction is going to go exact the day before, like I was saying, as we approach Thursday. So Wednesday here. It is going to be influencing the actual new moon, but the day before, I think it's really good to listen. It usually is with all ending phases, all balsamic phases, which was these past few days leading up to the new moon, because it's the clearing of the last cycle. But because we also have this conjunction, there can certainly be ideas or messages or insights that are setting the foundation for the new moon, okay? So there's always challenges, there's easy aspects. This is very typical to have a combination of easy and challenging, but I think all in all, it's definitely moving towards the easier side. Now do be patient with all of this, because it does take time for the new moon, right, to build momentum. This is going to be still new beginnings going into the weekend. Into next week, it'll be a great time to cultivate some of these things. Again, this Virgo energy and these opportunities here. But it's part of a solar cycle as well, especially when you're involving an outer planet like Jupiter. It's suggesting that the activation with Jupiter energy, these, again, opportunities, can be taking us into the next year with the sun here. All right, so that's the new moon in a nutshell. And of course, you know, it is forming a kite, like I said. So on a minor note, there is support from Saturn and the North Node, suggesting that there can be stability with this new moon, which is good, willing to see the big picture, which is great, and put in the work to make it happen with Saturn. It's not a given, but it's just an opening to do that, and collectively somewhat of a willingness. So if you feel that, great to utilize it. And the North Node is, of course, everything new in our life. So there can also be this willingness to try new things right now, which I think is great also. All right, so I hope you all have a fantastic new moon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the weekend forecast. Take care.